Only 2 matches remain at day 1 here of Celestial Assault, presented by the Gundam Evolution New Type League. We've got 2 teams already set for our top 3 on day 2, and only 1 more can make it. I am once again EGP Wonder Chef, joined by James Jamerson Lee. Oh my god, I bite my tongue every time I say your name for some reason. It's like a curse. But who do you think we're gonna get in our final spot? If you had to, I'm putting you on the spot here. If you had to choose one of our final teams, we've got BOZOS, we've got Skill Issue, Tekka Dynasty, and Satoris Esports. We actually haven't seen on stream, so that one's a little bit of a tough choice.
Yeah, that one's definitely hard. But I want to say that this is going to be a BOZOS matchup. I mean, to make it to top 3, it should be BOZOS. But again, there have been so many roster swaps, and these teams have completely changed in identity over the last month.
Yeah, I know. I put you in an impossible to answer situation, especially because, yeah, one of our 4 teams that's remaining has not even been on stream yet, which is pretty wild. So we are going to have our other losers quarterfinal match being played off stream currently, but right now we are going to BOZOS versus Skill Issue, and I see a lot of Skill Issue fans in the chat, and they're definitely going to need your help because every team that's left in this kind of bottom 4 of the losers bracket is an extremely strong team, and these two, this is, I think, the first matchup that we actually have of the day where both teams have been on broadcast before.
Yeah, and these are so important. Again, I love double elimination because it comes down to so many high stakes, right? This is your final chance. You lose, you go home. And so now with 2 matches left to go, you have to basically leave everything out on the field. And so and you don't really have that much time to really kind of make adjustments. I mean, these matches, some of these maps have been going by so fast.
I know. This is it's been a really intense day, and it actually does feel like it's been really short, all things considered, from what we've seen, especially the fact that we actually have seen some game 3s, or at least one game 3, which we usually don't see until the very end of the tournament. So honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea how any team is going to do against any team in the rest of this tournament, right? We've got a lot of teams that I felt could very easily make top 3, but only one of them can. I have teams that I didn't know were going to be quite as strong as they were going into the top 3. And then Team Nazis is probably there expectedly. But we also have some players that have chosen funny names, you know, like, for example, Sunglasses changing to Mr. Big Large or whatever it was. So it's just a whole day of confusing stuff. I'm just excited to continue to watch good Gun Evo gameplay. That's what I'm all about here. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, it's been an absolute treat throughout the day because it hasn't been just one unit kind of dominating the field. It's been so many different standout players, so many different standout positions, whether it's the tank line, whether it's the DPS, or even the support line. A lot of different units have been able to step up and really come up with some huge plays. And so I'm glad that it's not just, hey, look at turn A this entire tournament. It's been, look at the Dom, look at the Ashamar. So many different units are standing out throughout the course of today's events.
Yeah, it's not to like insult any other games. I'm not even talking about any game in particular when I say this, but I think there's a lot of games that no matter what the game is, as people get better at the game, the meta becomes more defined and more clear cut as to what you really need to choose to compete. But so far, I've been really, really happy that it's been kind of the opposite here. Like we've seen lots of different comps. We've seen some cores, but the actual ability to do well with every different suit in this game has been really impressive. We got to see the gun tank next, but we're going here into map picks and bans. Of course, we're still in the 2 out of 3 area. We're going to be a 2 out of 3 match for the rest of today. I believe only grand final is going to be 3 out of 5, so we're going to have the usual number of picks and bans.
Yeah, and for people that are newer to basically this event right now, we did have a swap off in terms of our map pool. So Colony Trading Post, our newest map in Gundam Evolution, has been swapped in favor of Ministry of Defense, which was already a map that we didn't even get to see that often. So I'm glad we made that swap off overall because, yeah, Ministry of Defense just wasn't that compelling. And because I don't know if we ever actually got to see the second half of Ministry of Defense. I feel like it was always a full hole to end things out.
Yeah, I don't think we did ever see the full like breadth of that map. So hopefully we get a chance to see Colony Trading Post. I do understand that there's a lot of people banning it right now. I think ideally, or at least hopefully, that it's a lot because it's just such a new map that you don't want to risk it when we've had so much more time to practice on a lot of these other maps. But we did see it get picked, right? We've seen both Thermal Plant and Colony Trading Post be picked today and just not used. But here we go. First ban of this set is going to be Flak Fort. A strange ban to see. Again, I feel like that is one of the most neutral maps.
Yeah, definitely a neutral map. I mean, we've seen teams be able to full hold on A as well. So it's not like it's just one of these maps where it's just extremely dominant, like we would see in Harbor City, where point A is kind of everyone just assumes you're going to take it. Although we did have a full hold earlier on, but Black Fort is just one of those maps that plays extremely dynamically, but I think it lends itself well to different sorts of play styles. You don't have to hard commit onto a Pale Rider either anymore, it seems. A lot of teams have kind of been pulling away from that Pale Rider, but maybe that's the reason why. Maybe they want to play a bit more to the strength of that unit. But right now, we're just waiting on the next ban. We'll see Thermal Plant, Mountain R&D. Want to see a little bit more of that today. We got to see some Mountain R&D, and I would love to see a little bit more because of the amazing Ashmar play that we got to see a little bit early on today.
Yeah, that can be a really fun map to watch. Sometimes it can be a stomp, I think, if one team is really, really good at knowing how to hold that high ground and just stay on that high ground. But it definitely leads to some very, very fun fights. And so I think that is always a really good map to watch. I really want to see Thermal Plant just because we haven't seen it. And I think that there's a chance that some of these teams will go there, especially if you're banning something like Flak Fort. I feel like you maybe just don't want to go to quite the longer range maps, but then I don't know why you wouldn't just ban Harbor City first. So maybe these players are just tired of Flak Fort, and we'll see what the actual second ban is. But I think Thermal Plant, we've got a higher chance maybe of seeing than Colony Trading Post, which is of course my number one pick still.
Yeah, again, it's just such a great map. When it was first announced, I was just so glad to see that we could actually play on a colony and have one of the most dynamic skyboxes. I know this, it's a weird thing to say, but like, you know, there really isn't a lot of love when it comes to skyboxes in most maps, and this is one of the most beautiful ones. But in particular, it just really does put into perspective like the kind of scope and the scale that you're fighting in. Like, these buildings actually feel like they are tall 10-story tall buildings, right? 40 or 15 to 20 meters high and stuff like that. And it's weird to have like the mobile suits actually feel a little bit dwarfed by the buildings.
Oh, wow. You know, I was saying maybe there's a chance that we see a Thermal Plant banned immediately. So I have cursed it, but that means Colony Chain Post still has a chance. So it looks like one team probably just doesn't want that level of chaos, which is understandable. So now I feel like there might be a chance that we end up seeing a Mountain R&D Lab pick. If somebody doesn't want to go to Thermal Plant, you might just go to that to say, hey, you know what? We'll force you to get to these close range fights. But on the other side, who knows? We still have quite a few long-range maps as well. You know, Colony Trading Post is kind of, I would say, a little bit more mid-range, then you get a little bit closer, but Underground Command Center has some really long angles. Harbor City has some really long angles. Quarry, mid-range-ish again. We're getting rid of a lot of these really, really short-range maps at least. So maybe that's the goal. Maybe they do want to try to take at least one of these super long range maps to make some of the other teams uncomfortable. But so far, I don't think we've really seen too many teams, at least too many teams that still exist in their full capacity, that are particularly strong or weak at any of these game types.
Yeah, I mean, again, you do still have some sight lines you can play around on Quarry, especially if you're trying to maybe play for that A site on the first half of the map. But right now, a lot of our longer range maps basically out of there except for Harbor City, and that is our first pick. And so we got to see some great Gem Sniper play along with some great turn A on there. Underground Command Center coming in as our second pick.
Yeah, popular map today somehow. And Quarry banned. One more ban, and we'll see what the decider is. Not that we've gotten too many game threes today, only one, I believe, but there is a chance. There is a chance. Seeing the Harbor City pick, I do feel like maybe one of these teams like is giving off the vibe at least that they want to fight in closer quarters. And I think maybe the other team decided to try and ban that out. Yep, I assume maybe the first team ban. I got to look at the banning order. But Colony Trading Post, the decider once again. So if we can just get a game three, if one of you teams could just, take it easy after you've won a game, we could see Colony Trading Post. Come on, give us the chance.
Yeah, the only set that ended up going to our third map was actually on stream, Skill Issue versus Tekka Dynasty. And so Skill Issue is one of those teams here so far. So maybe we do end up actually getting a second map number 3 courtesy of Skill Issue.
Yeah, honestly though, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, we at first we were like, okay, these teams kind of they really show like their divide in most of these matches. Like some of these teams just look a little bit more experienced with the game or as a team or whatever, and then some of the other teams like they look to be a little bit more new. But as we're getting further into this, I feel like even the most dominant matches that we've had, every single team has shown a really good fight at least. So it's not going to be as split up. I think some of these teams still, of course, are very new to playing with each other, and that might be one of the biggest differences. But I think that any of these 4 teams that are in the losers bracket currently could very easily go to game 3 against any of the other teams in the losers bracket, and that's what I want to see. I want to see more close matches. So I think we're slightly starting to break out of this initial I guess pattern of the game. But I mean, you know, the game is getting a little bit older. It's still not super you know, old. It's like what, like 6 months new still or something like that, but people are starting to really find their ground in it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, you know, it was enough to break the mold, that skill issue, our first match of the day going to map number 3. I mean, really, when it came down to day 1 throughout all of our events, it was just 2-0s across the board. So we might be seeing, you know, the competition basically raising to the challenge and everyone kind of equalizing in terms of overall skill, making things a little bit closer, especially when it gets down to the lower bracket. That's where we get to see teams kind of having to dig a little bit deeper when it comes to these matches.
Yeah, and you know, to point this out too, in our previous 2 events, we saw Team Powerpuff Girls go down a little bit early in the winners bracket and then fight their way all the way, you know, back up to a pretty high placement multiple times now. But now the remaining members of Powerpuff Girls are on Team Matthews, which is not in loser bracket at all, so they don't even have to deal with that. So that also kind of changes up the entire dynamic of just where our teams end up landing. They're not just gonna go to losers bracket, almost make it to top 3, and then lose to Powerpuff Girls, who for some reason get that sort of boost. Also, though, we could see Team Matthews, if they do end up losing in the winners finals, they might get that boost again, as long as half their team remembers how to, you know, play from that losers bracket like they have been. But right now, it's a bunch of teams that have never really been in that spot to get into that top 3. I think IQ at one point was in the top 4, and they're in now, of course, our top 3. But Tekka Dynasty, I think, is the closest of our remaining teams. BOZOS is such a different team, I almost feel like I can't even consider it the previous BOZOS. So I don't know. There's just so much change. There's so much change that I just really have zero idea what's going to happen in this losers bracket. But like I mentioned, the top match is happening off stream, so everybody pay attention to that one. I'm sure there'll be an update in the chat, probably from our genl GG account. By the way, please follow the stream. We're trying to continue to get out there and get our affiliates so that we can get all those little emotes for everybody and be able to get our VODs all good and stuff. So appreciate everybody who has followed to this point. We've also got a Discord, ! Discord in the chat. There's a whole bunch of commands.
Yeah, and you know, shout out to basically all of our partners, Landfest, Taurus, Bloodline, everyone that's helped us put this on basically for the last few months here. For Celestial Assault, for Gundam's Grace, for everything that we've been able to do. We wouldn't be able to do it without them. So just shout out to everyone supporting us, whether it's partners or just you following the channel, following us on Twitter. Do every little bit. Those little small metrics helps immensely. And so thank you all so much for your support.
Yeah, I've been really happy with all of this, you know. I mean, just going from you know, the first event to now, you know, being part of the Pilot Academy, it's been super sick. I know I'm just kind of rambling as waiting for this match to start, but you know, what better time? These matches end up going by so quick that I just want to thank everybody out there. So let's keep growing our community here. It's been a good little community of everybody, and you can see that just from the fact that when all these team shifts happened, the teams, you know, the players changed teams, but it didn't seem as much as, like, you know, I've seen some games where like the team changes end up being a lot more bitter than this time, you know, than we've seen from these players. This mode, it's more like there's this big pool of players and a lot of them know each other, and then they kind of switch and mix and match, and you know, sometimes certain players can't play on certain teams. And I mean, most of the best players here have been on like 3 different teams at least for 3 different tournaments. It's very, very strange, but it's cool to see. I appreciate the community, basically.
Yeah, it's a musical chairs effect basically when it comes to rosters every time around, you know. Like, I need Craze there to just like fill me in on what's going on, because it's just so hard to keep up with how many roster changes we have, and that's kind of just, you know, par for the course. That's the nature of the demon at this point. Right now we're just waiting for our first map of this set here in the lower bracket semifinals. Again, you lose here, you are done, and so much is on the line now.
Yep, everything. And again, I just got to remind everybody, you know, we're part of the Pilot Academy now. Top 3 gets a lot of points for this towards qualifying towards the end of season. So you really want to be in that top 3. But here we go. We're going to see BOZOS on the blue. We're going to see Amano starting out as their gym sniper. And on the other side, we are going to have Fuerte as the gym sniper. We're also going to see the turn A Gundam coming from Evictus on the side of skill issue.
Yeah, so for skill issue, opting for the double sniper here, we'll see if Team BOZOS want to go for it, but it looks like they feel like, you know, just having the one sniper, never mind. As soon as I say that, Blue Jay will go ahead and swap off. So that's going to be 2 long-range threats that you have to worry about here as we open up. And now we'll see how this defense wants to hold. How far back do they end up giving up space? Invictus, you needed to give them a little bit more. You cannot go for the peek on that corner. Amano gets the second one.
Oh my gosh, can we go for 3? That already is huge. What a set of picks right there. And just knowing where the sniper is, oh yeah, it doesn't really get a great chance, but already getting 2 on offense, that is probably more than enough. That might be the play already that takes point A. At the very minimum, they're going to get a tick on point A. So they're just got to hold this position. We're still going to see, of course, Fuerte on the sniper, just trying to get that high ground. This is almost an unsafe spot, though. This leaves you super vulnerable unless you back off. But not getting punished for it.
3 ticks already being secured before the contest comes out onto point A. Davester is going to try and get in as Dai ends up finding 2, but Davester will not be able to get a knock there. He will try and chase after Wiki, who is on 1 HP, but he ends up going down, chasing after that one.
Yeah, and that means there's nobody left on the point here. Killer Umbrella is trying to take out Amano, saying, okay, you've sniped enough of us, stop it. And it is going to work, but it looks like that point is going to be taken. So I don't know if it was worth it trying to make that chase down. I mean, nobody on the point to stop it from actually being captured means that now you're just a little bit staggered. We could see a quick push on the side of BOZOS if they really want to. Blue Jay's down, though, so they might just take some time to regroup. Oh, I love this angle. From bridge to bridge, from spawn to their push. It's great to hold it for a little bit, but if they notice the snipers here, they know that they can 6v5 push as long as they get actually regrouped, and it looks like they are being a little bit aggressive with this push.
Yeah, the only real threat is going to be Evictus there on mid, but you can see now Amano has a lot more space to work with. He has swapped off onto that pale rider to play off of that. They still have the long range option with Blue Jay, and he needs to dish up out a little bit more damage, but it looks like the opening is there. Be their shield. Ends up fighting Jay Slay. Davester goes down on the Barbados, and now it's going to be beeline straight onto point B. Screaming Nimbus utilized here as Wiki ends up finding 1 with his turret, and D is still here, causing so much disruption.
Gosh.
Gets the knock in the last second before Davester can actually make it back to spawn, and that's another knock. That's 2 ticks being picked up by Team BOZOS.
Wow, that was an aggressive chase. That's going to be 3 ticks. And there's only 3 people up on the side of skill issue, and that's slowly going to turn into less. And now there's only about 1 person ready to challenge. It's going to be the Trans Am, though, going to get 1 pick, but only 1. And we are still going to see the Methods, but that's the entire team. That's the point, and that is a quick round 1.
And it's just like you said, Wonder Chef. I mean, if you want to try and play the sniper on that bridge, you have to get that pick. Otherwise, you need to go ahead and make the swap off or go ahead and join back with your squad, leaving that 6v5 open to make it free. You need to contest for that choke point after point A, and they just did not do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big risk, right? But sometimes you can get the picks from bridge to bridge. The problem is you really need to hit a headshot on people walking sideways, which can be very awkward. A lot of these suits have these really big shoulders, especially when you get to certain suits like Dom, for example. You know, just has the big shoulder pads. Really hard to actually get the top of the head as it's walking by. So if you don't get that pick, you do live the 6v5. The reward can be nice, of course. People don't expect to get picked from that particular angle. They're not ready to get shot at yet, but it didn't end up happening, and we did see the axe thrown in the air, as we're going to see probably a pretty similar makeup. I do see on defense maybe no sniper. We're seeing Amano switch back to the Pale Rider for now, at least, and they are having to run back, so I'm assuming this is going to be real.
Yeah, I mean, they might, be considering that, hey, point A is a foregone conclusion. Let's work towards the Hades a little bit earlier on instead. And so that could be the consideration coming out from Amano there. But also, I mean, they might also just feel a little bit more confident in that long range. Fuerte wasn't able to get that much actually done on point A. I believe he ended up with about 50% charge once we ended up going over to point B. And so they might feel a little bit more confident up against the counter sniper and feel like they don't actually have to try and counter the gym sniper.
Yeah, well, let's see if it pays off. I'm just surprised. Oh, well, actually, then in the end, Amano changed back? Maybe it was just bugs, or are they just running all the way back? But it does look like we're going to be looking at Fuerte here, trying to get the picks themselves and be their shield, just getting chunked, getting absolutely chunked. But on the other side, Amano again getting 2 picks. This is our gym sniper of the day for sure in my eyes.
Yeah, it's huge pickups there for the defense. Now Invictus tries to go for the challenge. After he gets rezzed. Oh, Davester in the back line, but he doesn't get the finish onto Amano. That's the nerfs coming onto Barbados that we get to see there. Davester, unfortunately, not able to pick that one up, but he does create space for his squad. Tries to go in for another sword dive there, but he does not get the connect, and now he's down to 105 HP. Needs the health coming out from Bonekel there as they try and regroup.
Yeah, great evasion, though. Davester, I felt like, was pretty much a goner like several times in that fight and then just never went down. Really great way to escape, but just a great way to create space, too. You know, putting that pressure on really allowed this push. But now finally Davester going down, Amano getting the pick, but now finally Amano going down after getting just more than enough picks. But even just one person going down, especially 2, would be their shield now also falling to Killer Umbrella's Exia, means that this is probably going to be a gone point A. We might see already Skill Impact just, or I'm sorry, we might see BOZOS just kind of regroup and try to hold the choke point at this point.
Yeah, they haven't touched it quite yet. There we go, about to secure their first tick, but 2 minutes have basically already gone by. There's going to be the regroup now coming out from Team BOZOS, and hopefully they are able to regroup as a full 6. Killer Umbrella going for a cheeky peek there, but almost gets taken out himself. You can see now the difference in the defensive hold. Amano has gone back over to that Pale Rider, of course, now to start working on that Hades for his squad. He should be regrouped with his team. The difference here on the defense is that BOZOS are really able to play for this choke while Skill Issue were not able to.
Yeah, this is already considerably stronger positioning. Davester making the push in, but not quite able to get any damage here. And yeah, this looks like this might be the end of Davester. No, manages to just barely get that health pack on spawn, manages to stay alive. But we are just not seeing them make any leeway in pushing. Oh, there we go. That's huge. A great snipe onto Nitrogenocide.
It's a 1-for-1. Davester actually finds one more onto Wiki while we had a back cap taking place this entire time. No! Oh, no. We do have the butterfly going there, but Invictus gets shot out of the sky by Blue Jay. Make things a little bit more equal for the defense. They find one more. Davester going down. Nitrogenocide turns around in time to take out Bonekel, and now it's left basically up to Killer Umbrellas to try and secure a tick for his squad, but the rest of the defense is here, and unfortunately they're not going to be able to secure that tick for themselves.
Yeah, just getting chased down. And again, that's a big stagger, right? I mean, Davester now in a position to not really 1v5 this team. So I think this is a little bit of a risky spot to even be that far up. Amano now switching back, of course, to the Pale Rider. That happened a little bit earlier, but just mentioning it now because it's a little bit more relevant. Fuerte, though, still staying on the Gym Sniper. I was going to say, is that going to pay off? The answer is yes so far. Although, you know, falling down into that pit was a little bit demoralizing. But, oh, I see the Trans Am popped.
Yeah, Killer Umbrellas, though, has almost no HP, and Wiki will be able to finish him off. That's a 1-for-1 exchange, but they still have a lot of G maneuvers to utilize, and it's going to be Davester finding one onto Amano here, forcing them back. They secure one tick, but no one's on the point right now. Someone needs to actually be there. There it is. The Methus player gets in to the point now. Nitrogenocide here on the high ground. He does have that Ashmar punch to utilize. Now they're going to try and chase after them. We do have the funnels going down as well, but Nitrogenocide not utilizing that punch quite yet. We'll go ahead and back away, secure himself some health, and that's going to be the second tick coming in for Skill Issue.
Yeah, oh, nice avoidance from Amano, not getting jumped on. That can be pretty well reacted to if you're ready for it, but look at this, G maneuver into G maneuver, and that is going to be so many players on the side of BOZOS going down. That's going to be, I'm sorry, on the side of Skill Impact going down, it's going to be entire team kill, and that is going to be a full regroup and a full reposition, more importantly, back to this point, back to this choke point for BOZOS.
I was going to say there's an Ashmar punch online, but Fuerte! Oh no, the Screaming Nimbus! That is huge coming out for Skill Issue now as they charge forward, but there was a pick onto Davester along with a res. Wiki finds one more onto Jay Slate, and despite the heroics, the defense are holding on.
Oh, that was the most painful situation of being knocked into water that I've maybe literally ever even seen. But that, yeah, it's really impressive that they actually are holding on. This is really incredible. I mean, just regroup from this defense time and time again. Davester, oh, finally getting that hit. And actually, that's huge. Amano not fully going down, but just getting that down might be enough to get them a further push forward. They still only need 2 ticks left, but Davester finally getting picked off.
Forte is still sticking on to this Gym Sniper. He's 30% away from the wall hacks, but it's going to be Invictus now with that butterfly. He hasn't found anything quite yet. You can see Natural Genocide trying his best. Mid-air punch to finish him off. It's a 1-for-1 exchange between these two units now, but ultimately it's the defense now trying to hold on. Now we do have Skill Issue now making their way onto the point, but they've got 25 seconds left and they are staggering out. That's another exchange here. Bonekill is going to try and get the res, but he cannot. Now he needs to back away. That's too far, going basically into the spawn now. Nitro Genocide finds one more, and Fuerte is basically the only one up. He does have that wall hack going.
You don't get fully just walled off there to give yourself that extra time, and that might have been exactly what we saw with getting multiple picks on the side of Amano. But you know, moving over to the next map, which I suddenly forget what it is. Are we going to Underground Command Center? Is that right?
I want to say yes. I cannot remember right now.
We get too many of these matches.
Yeah.
But I think that's where we're going. So
yeah.
We are going to have a chance there for some similar play. If that is the map, I'm going to commit to it. You know, chat, if I'm wrong, blow me up. That's fine. Oh, I was right. Yeah. All right. The good commitment. But yeah, so we're going to have some similar levels of play, right? Like this, again, Gym Sniper could be an option, but it could also not be an option, especially considering the fact that, for example, like we've seen Amano for sure do lots and lots of work on the Pale Rider. Forte, I'm not exactly sure what other suits Forte knows, so that'll be interesting to see. Or we might just see the commitment to the Pale Rider because I'm sorry, to the Gym Sniper, because we did see the commitment to the Gym Sniper throughout the entire game on offense in that set. So maybe that just means, you know, you're just going to stick with it even in a map like this.
I mean, it's incredibly strong, right? On the entire offensive side, but typically you see that teams want to play a little bit closer, have a little bit more presence once on points with that Pale Rider. And if you're committing to the Gym Sniper on the second point offense, I feel like it's just a lot of trust being put into your backliners, being able to put a lot of trust into like Killer Umbrellas to see what he can do with that. But I think you kind of do want to swap off on to that Gym Sniper. Just the consistent damage, right? Even though consistent body shots can be pretty huge when it comes to Gym Sniper, just the Pale Rider Hades finishing ability to just finish off fights with that Hades is so much more important.
Yeah, not that it's bad per se, but the Gym Sniper G maneuver, it isn't the most impactful. It is, of course, huge to be able to know where your opponents are, but there's a lot of situations and a lot of maps where it almost doesn't even matter if you know exactly where your opponents are, because like it's like, yeah, like if I'm on, let's say, Quarry, for instance, I don't know, I'm just choosing that randomly, and you're on the very first point trying to attack the relay, it's like, yeah, they're probably mostly going to be next to the box, you know, on the right side after the last choke point. It's like, yeah, you're probably mostly going to know that. It's not going to be huge, but you know, you're on you're on Pale Rider, you pop Hades. It's like, okay, you might just team wipe them. We'll see how well your aim is and if they can react to well enough. So yeah, I totally get that. But we'll see. Again, I don't know what Fuerte's specialties are overall as far as just being a player. But Underground Command Center, we don't see it that often. We're going to see it now for the second time today.
Yeah, and again, it is one of those maps where you do want to start off on the offensive side as that Gym Sniper. Just the pick-off potential is huge. We get to see the changes now coming into the nerfs coming to Dom really coming into effect. I think on both of our Harbor City maps that there were huge picks with the headshot onto the Dom from the Gym Sniper. And so it is really bearing fruit across our tournament so far. We did get to see some teams actually try to run sniper list composition when it came to the defensive side for Underground Command Center. So it feels like there are a lot of different flavors, and especially on the defensive end when you want to play this map.
Yeah, I can totally see that. You know, like you have to really figure out how they're going to be attacking you on defense. And also the run back is so huge that you don't want to just get overrun and then suddenly they're just already planted by the time your sniper gets back. So I think I do like the idea. And we did see it work quite well of playing like a little bit more of a flexible option on the defense for the first point here. And if it works out, you know, if you think still like it's not working out, you can just back up and play a little bit safer even. But sniper is like kind of a hard commitment. And we've seen that really not pay off. You know, we did see another game on Underground Command Center where the first pick was the sniper. The sniper got picked off itself, and then that just ended up being just kind of like a death ball all the way through the map where they were just never able to kind of regroup and get their kind of, I don't know, their team synergy back. You know, they just weren't able to sit down and just be like, okay, it's time to change what we were doing. But I don't know. Again, until we see these players in these maps, and that's the other thing too. Is like a lot of these teams and all these players we've seen on like Flak Fort or on Mountain R&D, but Underground Command Center, it's always going to be a mystery.
Yeah. Now I believe we do have match 2 set up and ready to go underway. We'll see if there's going to be a quick 2-0, excuse me, for Team BOZOS, or skill issue can send us to a map number 3. But for right now, the big question is, what are our compositions going to be once we get into Underground Command Center?
Well, it looks like we are going to see, at least on the side of BOZOS, Amano is going to be on the Gym Sniper, and Fuerte is going to be on the Gym Sniper as well. So they are probably both committing, unless we're going to see a last-minute switch on the offensive side. It does look like BOZOS is going to start out on the offensive side, and Fuerte already in position, looking like holding a little bit of a lower position, not on the mountain, which can be a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah, we see a lot of teams just at least initially hold that position to try and buy some time and then play for some fallback spots. Right now, there's only 2 players actually up there, and Invictus has to be careful, and they are ready to actually just drop off now as that high ground has been taken by the BOZOS squad.
Yeah, we see this this high ground just exactly working this many times on this map, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you've won, that you've taken that high ground, because you don't get a clear line of sight to right behind this relay, which is exactly what's happening right here. And wow, still no picks in this entire game. This is like the longest we've ever gone without a pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's how this map should play out, right? You shouldn't hard commit onto a point. Davester finds that first knock. D actually goes down as well. We'll see if the long-range res comes through, but it looks like Nitro Genocide is going to go ahead and push forward, try and chase the after killer umbrellas. It's going to be Blue Jay, actually, with the daggers getting that knock.
Yeah, and with that relay taken, this is actually a scary spot now for the side of skill issue, because we've seen now, if you can get staggered here, there's a chance that, again, they just death ball like we saw Team Matthews do earlier and just immediately take this first bomb site, and then you get staggered again, and then it just happens again. It can very much happen, but it does look like they've... Oh, wow, great pick from Fuerte right there to even get the Sazabi, which again is still not a one-shot headshotable suit.
Oh, they got to be careful. They cannot be staggering like this right now. D does end up getting back, and it looks like it's going to be Amano getting a knock onto Davester. We'll see if they can follow through. Here is the wall hacks coming through, and now they're going to try and charge forward. Davester is back in time. B, their shield ends up going down, but Amano ends up finding one more here as they try and go for the peak. J-Slice super low, but he's able to make it back to the rest of his squad. And that's the mega charge going down actually on point B.
Ooh, yeah, we very rarely see these competitive teams get it down on point B, but that can be actually one of the hardest points to take back. Having these windows here that are just such good cover, and there being essentially one single choke point that you have to fight through to get back into this, and that's like the tiniest choke point too. It's just a door, just one literal door. And we do see, of course, 3 people still down on the defensive side. Blue Jay looks like it's going to barely escape, just getting that health pack. This looks like this might be a successful bomb plant here.
Yeah, they have 2 huge G maneuvers available. Never mind, just the one as Nitro Genocide goes down. Transam is up. They've got the Unicorn ulti as well. Looks like they might be able to just finish this one off without it. 15 seconds remaining, and that was huge coming out from Blue Jay there, cleaning things up. And now, skill issue have to be careful, and they just have to regroup. This point is lost, and they got to make sure they don't get staggered. But what a beautiful push coming out from our BOZOS squad, trying to catch them all off guard. But it looks like it was a full 6-man retreat. Invictus goes down.
Oh, but they still got one great pick here, and okay, immediately the Trans Am popped to try to counter things off here, but this is still going to be so hard as a 5v6 when they are pushing forward so coordinated here, and we are going to see the Screaming Nimbus come out. It's only going to land a few hits, though. It might not be the ultimate one that you want to see to get this point. However, the picks, regardless, have just been working so well. We're going to see the counter butterfly here from Evictus, who's going to go down, and that might have been a waste of that G maneuver, as we're already going to see the plant.
Oh, he's going to try to go for it, but we do have the XE in the back line. Killer Umbrellas is here to at least put a stop to that. No, the bomb actually goes down, and now he's going to stagger himself. Amano finds one more pick, the counter sniper onto Fuerte here, and D showing the power of the Dom, winning out that duel with the help ultimately in the end of Amano, and it staggers on staggers. Bozos are just playing off of momentum right now, and skill issue cannot keep up.
Well, I cannot believe that they had that forward positioning to actually plant. Yeah, this is so hard for them. And we're going to see a sniper fight even indoors here. And a nice one tap on Fuerte. Amano winning the duel. That's one of the coolest duels, of course, in the game, to see the sniper ego challenge duel. But okay, we're going to barely see Nitro. Yeah, Nitro Sensei going down. But there's just not enough people, I think, to disarm here. They need to find some sort of huge G maneuver, but they just don't have anything. Fuerte being the only one that's up, it's just not going to be able to get as much damage as you need. This is one of those spots where maybe switching off could have been the play, and that is going to be it. A really quick round, exactly like we saw actually earlier in the day. The one amazing push into a death ball, into just so much time left. 2:30 left.
Yeah, there are a few things I do want to note as well that we kind of missed in the flurry of action. When we got to see both turn A's try to go for that butterfly G maneuver, I believe it was Nitro Genocide going for the Ashmar punch to actually stop the butterfly on the other side. So there was a lot of counterplay that we kind of missed because there was just so much going on.
I love the idea that the Flyers actually use like their flying G maneuver to like deal with another flying G maneuver. That's so perfect. It's like what's supposed to happen, and it's so sick that these teams are starting to be ready for this. Like that's the second time now in the set that we've seen punch against a butterfly. That like I mean successfully too. Yeah, apparently that's a really incredible. And blah, I love watching these two teams play, honestly. But BOZOS was just so ahead of everything. That coordinated push that managed to get that singular pick on Evictus after that first point was key. That was absolutely key. If they had been like half a second later, Evictus would have lived, would have managed to regroup, get to the 6v6, and then they might not have been able to make that happen. Or if they did make it happen, the stagger wouldn't have been good enough to be able to immediately get that plant. So every single thing there was perfect as far as just how they were coordinated and how they timed it and how they just didn't hesitate.
Yeah, and for the Bozos side, I mean, it feels like they're feeling they're a lot more comfortable playing off neutral when G maneuvers aren't a factor. So when they saw that there was a full committal coming out from skill issue, and it was almost a panic G maneuver usage coming out from skill issue when they were retreating as that 6-man. Bozos were able to answer it back. They've almost popped all of their G maneuvers as well. Amano with a nice little shot there on Evictus. And then, they thought they were safe on the ground, but no, Amano is here. They do end up getting the res, courtesy of Bonekill, but that's going to be another knock coming out from Blue Jay.
Yeah, Mono still just, oh my gosh. Okay, just immediately going down over there. Maybe a little bit of overcommitment going against two very strong close range suits right there, but that does mean that they're going to be down Blue Jay for the rest of this fight. However, the entire offensive side is a little bit spread out. They did lose Bonekill for a while. They lost Evictus for a little bit, of course, just brought them back up, but this might give enough time. Oh my gosh, on the Exia too, that's huge.
Yeah, Amano is doing so much right now. That's going to be another one going down. There's a third. Amano cannot be stopped. He already has this G maneuver.
No way. Yo, the ultimate left clicker. Oh, that is beautiful. That is the commitment to the gym sniper. That's the gym sniper gameplay I want to see. I've been waiting for that since like week 1. Oh man, almost getting the pick on Bonekill as well with the really far range Ashamar shots. And oh, look at that. They just have to completely reset. They've lost so much time just getting all just one-tapped by Amano.
Yeah, I feel like, for Victus, he forgets that, yeah, you got nerfed. You're down to 1100 HP. You can get headshot. I believe that's twice that Amano was able to finish him off in the last minute. And now we're down to 3 here. They have not made their way over to the waypoint quite yet, but Fuerte is able to finish it off with the Vulcan cannons of all things. on to the tank player there as D does back away. The waypoint has been picked up by skill issue, but for Team BOZOS, it's all about buying time. It's all about burning the clock on the other side. Blue Jay is still here in the back line, being a constant nuisance, a threat. He ends up going down, but again, and they're happy with these trades overall as D finds one onto Fuerte, and Amano finally falls in the end here, and now they need to charge forward.
Yeah, now this could be the kind of reverse stagger situation. This could be an issue. Mono now switching over to the Pale Rider, which is going to, I mean, of course, make me a little bit sad, but that's going to be a really smart choice, I think, for being in this spot. Oh, the Exia getting picked. No, the Exia versus Exia. Blue Jay just barely escaping. Both of these Exias actually just barely escaping as D goes down. Davester finally getting that spot that's going to be really useful to him, actually getting 2 takedowns with Wiki as well.
Yeah, beautiful utilization of that Trans Am. Now Blue Jay trying to find a little bit more. He does not have a health pack to play off of there, but he does at least get some trades. It looks like the res will come through. Jay Slay needs a lot of time to heal up, though. They only have that 1 pack to play off of. I'd be surprised if they try to commit for this charge, and they will not go for that mega charge quite yet, allowing the defense now to regroup. But for skill issue, they have a lot of G maneuvers available, and there's the first one coming in, the Screaming Nimbus. I believe the Trans Am has been popped for Killer Umbrellas as well, but despite utilizing 2 of those G maneuvers, they've only found the 2 picks right now. They need a little bit more, but the trades are not going in their favor.
Yeah, and of course the counter. Oh my gosh, great shot. Oh wow, I don't even know honestly where that shot was. Oh, it was the turret. Where was the turret? The turret got the kill. That was interesting. But yeah, the counter Screaming Nimbus was so key right there. It completely shut down that little bit of offense that they took, and it was trading 1 G maneuver for 2. So here we go on this right side, or I should say the left side for the offense. But they just can't break through. And again, the Fling Grenade is doing so much damage.
Yeah, Blue Jay is doing an amazing job on the Exia so far. Jay Slay will fall. That's going to be 3 members of the offense down, and now the time is ticking away. They've got 35 seconds just to get the plant down.
Oh, this is tough. And even if they do manage to somehow miracle bring this entire game back, there's just so much time to make up for it in overtime. This has got to be one of the hardest situations that you could possibly be in as Team Skill Issue. They're playing well, but again, they just haven't been able to find that key moment to really make anything stick. And there we go, Jay Slay going down to the Amano grenade, and oh, everybody just going on all the same time. The funnels did so much work from Be Their Shield. Davester managing to get 1 pick, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to actually get a plant, and every single player on Skill Issue going down. That is going to be the game and the set. BOZOS holding at point A.
Yeah, very strong 2-0 coming out from Team BOZOS. They'll be moving on to the losers semifinals. I'm trying to check to see if we did have a winner, and yeah, they'll be facing off against Tekka Dynasty now here in the loser semifinals.
Yeah, Tekka Dynasty have been having quite the run today. We've seen them on stream more than any other of these teams for a very good reason, but we're going to get it one more time, and that's going to be another really good match. But I mean, I was very impressed by BOZOS' play there. That was such a great way to take advantage of that offensive situation. And on defense, again, you know, it was really, really close, I felt, but they made sure that nothing stuck. You know, there was no plants that were just not able to be recovered from. Like, there was always somebody around to stop the plants. They just managed to have that positioning just so perfectly. And I mean, it was not a game 3. I said any of these could go to game 3, but again, that was maybe a little bit more of a dominant matchup. Still great stuff to Skill Issue, who put on another great showing today, but it looks like they are now out of the running for that top 3. They still will be getting a good amount of points, though, towards the Pilot Academy.
Yeah, but for Team BOZOS now securing top 4 for themselves, and now 1 match away from securing top 3 and keeping their tournament hopes alive.
Yeah, so we do, of course, only... Oh, actually, we just got a little update. Amano went 36-1 in that game. Oh, my gosh. What a disgusting score. Definitely the MVP play, I would say, of today, although we've had a bunch of really amazing moments, but just that overall on that map. However, we have one more match where we do get to see some more Amano, and we do get to see some more Tekka Dynasty, and we do see some more of BOZOS in general. But we are going to see that right after this quick break, when we will be deciding who will make it into top 3 on day 2, get those extra points from Pilot Academy, and who will be going home at 4th place right after this.